So this weekend, our leadership group did some constellations. And I'll do another video on what constellations are, but they're quite popular in the world of psychotherapy. So for my constellation, we had 3 players or 3 people playing different aspects of my life. One aspect was the hidden dynamic. The other 2 aspects were the current me and the pretend me. And how this plays out is that the people accept these roles that I have within my unconscious, and then they play them out, whatever happens in the dynamic. So one of my good friends was running the constellation. He's very skilled. And what came up for me was that the hidden dynamic is my mother, the inner mother. And I'm always trying to be perfect for her. And then the current me was this, it started out being this rigid, immobile human creation. And then there was the pretend me, which is like this play it cool all the time, mask, kind of aloof, and feel like he's doing his own thing, but really he's just it's almost attention seeking that he wants to do. So to solve the dynamic within the constellation, some elements were brought in. One was toppling my mother from the pedestal, and when that happened, originally my mum in the dynamic was trying to strangle both myself, both my rigid self and my fake self. And then when this element was brought in about toppling her from the pedestal, she stayed in the middle, but she was still happy because they weren't divided. They were standing opposite sides of the room. Then another element came in, and I can't remember what that was. I think it was feeling free to feel, being confident to feel, and that helped loosen up my rigid self a bit. So the person that was playing my rigid self kind of shook it off and wasn't feeling so constricted and so constrained. And then the final dynamic that was brought in was zest for life, and that completely freed up my rigid self, and it brought the my mask self over too, which is quite amazing. Just I'm afraid to live my life. I'm afraid to be what I think I can be, because it was never what my mother wanted me to be. She wanted me to be a perfect, or what I felt as a child between 0 and 7 was to be this perfect son. I had no idea to be that or how to do that, so I just continuously conformed to be multiple things over my life and not really understanding why I was doing it until now. I know I was doing it to feel accepted and respected and loved, because I feel like conforming to someone's model of what they thought love was how I got love. So I feel that's popped the lid on feeling some more of that. I felt really sad about that, just the lost opportunities in my life to express who I am, and I was hiding behind this fake mask of not wanting to be accepted or doing my own thing and being aloof or superior. It's a sense of superiority that I have, which manifests this fake me, and I really hate it. I've had it for so long now. I just want it gone, out of my system. But it's going to take layers and layers of grieving to get that out of my system. And I really feel for other men that have had this as well. This is quite common, especially with men with my body structure, the achiever or rigid body structure, where they've had a broken heart from their mother or their father, usually the opposite sex parent, where they've never been accepted and all their love is conditional. So you make these defenses just to survive, and my defense was trying to be perfect all the time. Whatever that meant, in whatever circles that meant, to whatever woman that I was with, I just always try and be perfect, live up to some unbelievable standard of perfection. And I would also attract women that are very critical and would also want perfection. So I would tend to attract other achievers or intuitives or orals that needed something for me to be perfect. They needed to feel that they were perfect, and I needed to feel that I was perfect. And those two continuous models of always trying to be perfect is never going to work. It's just not. So unless you do emotional work, which is what I recommend, so do the emotional work. But constellations are a great way of doing that. Just quickly, on the leadership we did a leadership meeting on the Saturday, and the constellations we did on the Sunday with more leadership crew. But on the Saturday, the leadership thing was more around coaching, training how to be a coach. And we did constellations there, and it was really good. Like, people that have never done constellations before, and they were quite profound for them. And just seeing how dynamics play out in their life, and just being able to see, well, I didn't see that was interfering with that. Whether it's like overdeveloped senses of perfection, or not letting go of things, or no clear life direction. Like, you think you want to be a coach, but you got one foot in, one foot out. Like, you've already got a job, and you're kind of tied to that, and you don't really want to step out of that because it's scary. And fear is typically a big one, where it's like, well, what are you doing? Like, what do you actually want out of your life? And I think constellations are really, really insightful and very meaningful, and you just see how this plays out. I'll find some videos on constellations, or I'll do a video on constellations just specifically for constellations, just so you have an idea about what they are. But all in all, that was my story from the weekend, and it was very eye-opening, and I learnt from other people's process from constellations as well. Very moving. People healing from guilt, and or popping the lid on guilt, or realising the need to forgive parents or forgive family patterns and culture. So it was really moving and insightful and beautiful to be able to bond with people at this emotional level, as being able to hold men and hold women without any sexual innuendo, just being able to love them like an innocent loving, which I find really beautiful and really refreshing, and it really speaks to my heart and who I am as a human. It's a really safe environment to be able to explore that. So anyway, that's my story. Thank you for listening, and subscribe if you want to. If you don't, no biggie to me, and peace.